Exposed. The killer's motive. The recordings he never meant to be found. At 3:17 a.m. on October 14, 2014, a 911 dispatcher in Marrow Creek, Oregon, received a call that would later be described as the calmest voice attached to the worst sentence. The man on the line didn't sound panicked. He didn't whisper. He didn't rush. He simply said, "They're going to ask why, but I already explained everything." Then the call ended. No name, no location. Just silence. Marrow Creek was the kind of town where nothing ever happened, and because of that, people stopped paying attention. Just over 3,000 residents, one grocery store, one elementary school, one police department, and a long stretch of forest road that disappeared into darkness. Everyone recognized everyone else. And everyone recognized Elliot Rowe, even if they pretended not to. Elliot was born in Marrow Creek in 1981 and never left. He worked nights at the water treatment facility, logging temperatures and checking valves while the rest of the town slept. He spoke little. He moved predictably. And starting in March of 2012, he began writing. The first notebook police found in his trailer wasn't violent. It wasn't angry. It was analytical. Elliot wrote about routines, patterns, and what happened when people stepped outside of them. He believed the town functioned like a machine, and that certain people existed only to make sure others stayed in line. He didn't call them enemies. He called them observers. On June 3, 2012, Elliot stood motionless in the checkout line at Ridgeway Market for 11 minutes. He didn't use his phone. He didn't blink. He just stood there. The cashier, Linda Morales, asked him if he was okay. 3 customers abandoned their carts and left. Elliot later wrote that Linda shouldn't have spoken to him, that she interrupted something. At the time, it meant nothing. 2 years later, on October 14, 2014, Linda Morales finished her shift at 6:46 p.m. She never made it to her car. Her body was found behind Ridgeway Market at 8:47 p.m., placed neatly between the dumpster and the wall. No struggle, no noise. Her hands were folded, and in her palm was a receipt with one item circled: milk. On the back, someone had written, "You were supposed to go home." Elliot clocked in for work that night at 11 p.m. His logs were perfect. At the bottom of the report, he added a sentence no one noticed until later. The first correction is complete. Shortly after midnight, Officer Ryan Keller began his patrol. At 12:41 a.m., his dash cam showed him slowing down as he passed Elliot's trailer, just like he always did. 2 minutes later, Keller radioed in that he was checking something. That was the last transmission. He was found standing upright against a tree on Forest Road 6B, his cruiser parked neatly nearby. His weapon was still holstered. His body camera was on. The footage showed Keller walking with a flashlight when a voice from the darkness said, "You weren't supposed to stop." Keller laughed nervously and asked if the man lived out there. Elliot stepped into frame, smiling, and told him, "You do this every night." When Keller asked how Elliot knew his route, Elliot replied, "You taught me." The footage cut out. Pinned to Keller's chest was a note that read, "Observers must be observed." The third body was found hours later at Marrow Creek Elementary. The janitor, Samuel Hodge, sat upright in the gym bleachers, hands on his knees, eyes open. A chalk circle surrounded him. 4 clocks sat inside the circle, each stopped at a different time. On the wall behind him, written in red marker, were the words, "Time is how they control you." Samuel had once changed the school locks early, Elliot noticed. At 3:17 a.m., Elliot made the call. Police raided his trailer at dawn. It was empty. No signs of struggle, no escape plan, just notebooks and recordings. One USB drive was labeled Motive. The final notebook was labeled Why. Inside, Elliot had written names, dates, times, including detectives, including actions they hadn't taken yet. One entry described Detective Harold Vance standing by the station window at exactly 6:10 a.m., noticing a reflection. Security footage later confirmed it happened exactly as written. In the recordings, Elliot explained that the problem wasn't hatred. It wasn't revenge. It was interruption. He believed patterns kept people predictable, and predictability allowed control. Those who disrupted him were correcting him, so he corrected them back. One recording, time-stamped before any murder occurred, ended with Elliot saying, "I'm not killing people. I'm removing variables." There was one unexplained hour that night. No footage, no witnesses. Just a recording where Elliot whispered, "I'm standing where they think they're alone. They don't look up." A week later, Marrow Creek quietly replaced all its streetlights with brighter ones equipped with cameras. Elliot had predicted it in his notebook. "They'll watch harder," he wrote. "That's how I'll know I was right." In Elliot's trailer, police found a chair placed 6 feet from the window, facing outward, as if someone had been sitting there watching the street. The final sentence he ever wrote said, "They'll say I disappeared. That makes them comfortable." 5 years later, in 2019, a traffic camera captured a still image at 2:17 a.m. A man stood beneath a streetlight, hands behind his back, looking directly up at the camera. Written on the sidewalk beneath him in chalk were 2 words, "Still here." The case remains officially closed. But in Marrow Creek, people don't stand still at night anymore.